When you have 10 firefighters that are available for overtime and you have 3 captains that are available for overtime for the same slot, why is a captain predominantly coming in?
Because there's a need.
No,
If you had proper staffing, would you still have the same need for
Not
overtime?
when there's a firefighter who is missing and you have 10 firefighters to offer overtime to, you have 3 captains to offer overtime to, or 4 captains, but 3 are coming in excessively and 1 more than anybody else.
Now let me have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
I would like to make a comment, Mr. Mayor. If you're done with your mischaracterizations of what has happened over this entire budget process and over the efforts that the city manager and our interim director of public safety are making to restaff, it's been made abundantly clear time and again. And let me start by thanking Mike Cicero. Because, Mike, unlike the approach that was taken in the past, we get straight talk from you. We get conservative, fiscal conservative, rational approaches to things. That is a welcome thing. I'm tired of gimmicks. We're having an argument here tonight, which, let me take that back. It's not an argument. It's clearly campaign speechifying and posturing. We are having it over what, am I the only person, by the way, that gets the irony of Phil Gunther talking about, and his running mate, Vince Sera, talking about the place to shave money in this budget is in police and fire? That's just a game. It's a shell game.
Rick, the numbers are there.
Phil, stop interrupting me.
Rick.
No, I've had it with you interrupting. Is there order here or not? I'm speaking.
Rick, I asked
You'll
questions.
get a chance to talk,
Excuse
Phil.
me.
No,
Excuse
I'm not
me.
going to excuse you. I'm talking here. You've interrupted everybody that's gotten up here and spoken so far.
When you attack me, I'm going to respond.
Yeah, well,
you'll have your chance,
get used to it, Phil, because
Why don't you wait your turn to speak?
you
Let
have to
him
be
finish, and
accountable.
then you'll get to go.
Here-
Why don't you be quiet?
Excuse me.
I didn't leave work today early.
John.
I'm listening to all this.
John,
If you want
sit
to
down.
Talk numbers, but don't keep talking about what's happened in history all the time.
Excuse me.
John.
That's exactly
John.
what we're trying to talk about, John.
We need some water in this room, Mayor.
Excuse me, Lisa.
No, let me finish. Mr. Cicero,
Yeah.
I was thanking you for giving us a budget without gimmicks, a budget that's looking to the future. Our city manager has explained many times already why she's taking the conservative approach. The city auditor has explained the total number for these departments, whether you label a portion as overtime, a portion as salaries. The total number is a marginal increase over what was there before. The city manager has not been wasting time. The city manager has been implementing a plan. These things don't happen overnight. The plan is to try and get some qualified part-time people involved in the fire department. There is a real cost savings to doing that. There's no question about it. And for reasons that have been discussed on many other occasions, I personally think it's a win-win situation because it gives an opportunity for already qualified people to become even more qualified to train within our department and to fill in, we would hope, the full-time positions that we know we're going to need to fill. You have overtime this year because this is a budget. You can't make assumptions that we're not going to need this money or that money when, as the manager has explained way too many times, she is making projections based on what she hopes to be able to do in terms of filling positions through staffing during the year. She is making decisions that are conservative decisions because we have open contracts in both the police and fire departments, which means that the terms of the old expired contracts continue forward. And they were, let's be fair, quite friendly to the workers. Be that as it may. She can't ignore these things. Our auditor can't ignore these things. If what we're looking at now, or the argument here tonight, is really just a rehash or a new version of last year's Simpson-Gunther budget, where what you guys wanted to do was take all the money from reserves, to take money from our...
And we got crucified for that, Rick.
Yeah, and you know what, Andy? We would have been killed if we had adopted
No,
your
you
budget.
wouldn't have,
the
Rick.
auditor talked about it, Andy. You don't need me to prove that. The
Now all of a
auditor
sudden
told
you
us
went
this.
from $700,000 down to $1.4 million. You doubled it.
No,
This year.
1.7 million down to
Excuse me.
700,000.
No.
Guys,
From
we're talking about the
surplus.
surplus. The surplus is borrowed money. We borrowed that money, remember?
Yeah,
We
and-
borrowed
right.
money to pay
And
for
so
the
we're
revale.
using
We
$1.4
borrowed money
million
to pay for the tax
instead of
appeals.
$700,000 last year when me and Phil asked to take a little bit more out of the surplus. Oh no, that's borrowed money. So now this year I guess it's not borrowed money because we took it from $700 to $1.4 million. That's doubled.
No, because the surplus was able to build through some of the operations as well. It's not all borrowed money, but it's still substantially borrowed money. That's a last resort.
Rick, if
Also,
I could just
Rick,
interrupt
take
for
the
just a
1.8
moment.
No,
and the
Phil,
1.4.
when I'm
with all due
done,
respect.
interrupt and say what you need to
3.2.
say.
Rick, we're at the public portion. We're going to have
Oh, okay.
council comments
When I
on the
talk,
budget.
when I talk,
No, I
then
was
public
responding
portion.
to a
When you
question that
have
someone asked.
25 comments to make, that's okay.
But I was responding to a question that someone asked.
Oh, I see. So the distinction is, I have to say,
Right.
okay, anything I say from now on is in response to something somebody asked, and then I'm okay? I can say whatever I want?
Rick,
Yeah, we're not.
you know, once again,
on.
you and I could go on all night because
No, Phil, we can't. We can't.
We're not gonna
You
agree.
need, we
Well-
need as a council to have clear rules, and everybody needs to follow them. We can't have a rule that says if Phil wants to jump in, he gets to jump in. Either we say nothing when people from the public are speaking and save our comments to the council comment portion, or we have some reasonable, uniformly applied rules for when council members can
Rick,
contribute.
Rick, are you serious?
Yeah, I am
No one
serious, Phil.
speaks more than you do.
Phil,
okay?
I got news for you.
And-
I've had
and-
people time the meetings,
Well-
you got me beat.
Well, I probably do because I'm running the meeting, and that's the job as the mayor. And if somebody asks me a question, I'm going to respond to it. If someone comes up and asks a question of Councilman Delucry, you can respond to it. All right? So at this point, we're in the public portion. Anyone else want to speak on the budget? Anyone else? Yes, Mrs. Phillips.
Here we go.
Frank.
When a fireman, listen to me, let me finish. When a fireman can come in and make $1,900, in excess of $1,900 for one day, okay, instead of bringing in a lower paid fireman, bring in the captain. He makes $1,900. Sock it to the taxpayer.
And
To me, that's abuse.
Got the copy of the agenda tonight. I want to ask the council, did they happen to pick up, at least I did, the City of Brigantine Fire Department, a package like this?
it was in front of my...
You had- did- okay. What I'm asking is, reason I didn't bring this up earlier, Mayor, we talked about the budget, we talked about overtime, we talked about the PSD,
Right.
whether he's here, what he does, what he doesn't do, whether he's worth it, whether he's not worth it, and we talk about chiefs. A matter of opinion, I would hope council will go home tonight, look themselves in the mirror, and realize you don't represent just the Democrats, Republicans, buddies, families. You represent everybody on this island. As a taxpayer, as far as I'm concerned, if you look at this paper, when you get time, it is sad, as far as I'm concerned, 3 higher-ups in the fire department blatantly, as far as I'm concerned, abused power. What I'm trying to say is they turn in comp time, and one of the things on 2 people is to go meet with Chief Hall's wife. Now, what I'm trying to say is acting captain, and a captain acting as a chief signed off on this. I think that's a disgrace as far as I'm concerned. You turn in and ask for comp time to go visit that woman. Because
Absolutely.
as a taxpayer, what I'm trying to say is, looking at this paper, this shows me a sign of blatant arrogance, is the way I look at it. Now, I could be wrong, and I don't have the opportunity to talk to these individuals. You as council does. And what I'm trying to say is, you know, whether you need chiefs or whether you need a PSD or what for this, for that, there's a lot of arrogance floating around on this island. And sooner or later, Dr. Kern has prayed about chiefs, talked about, just made an apology, and we had an acting chief sign off on this. If this is true, what he did, I think this man should be held accountable for it.
I think you're right. It needs to be looked at, and I appreciate you bringing this to us. But I also want to highlight something that came out tonight in our budget discussion that I think as a matter of process needs to be changed. I'm going to give you a very clear example. If this came across someone's desk, they would have questioned it, okay? And they would have made a decision to either pay it or not pay it. And if you don't pay it and a union employee wants to grieve it, and you feel you're on the right side of the issue, then go that process. But as it stands right now, we don't apparently have the checks and balances in place that we should.
I never agree with you more than that comment you made tonight, just like when Andy made a comment about business, how you run business. You two guys hit it right on the head. And that's why I said, you know, someone, and I don't have the power, should look into this to find out if this is true. If it's not true, then this trash should be floating around. Right. If it is true, something's got to be done that this doesn't happen again to rectify this situation.
Regardless of that, anything I think needs to have the oversight that someone can say, I disagree with this, and we're not paying it, and we'll sort it out later. And if you show me that I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If you take me to arbitration, the arbitrator says you got to pay this, then you pay it.
I'm a taxpayer. This is important to me. Whether it's the mayor or it's a fireman or it's anybody else, they're abusing my money as a taxpayer. And if I can't come here and speak about it, what's the sense of having a democracy? Just let them go to the piggy bank, take what they want, and I can't say a word. When you got 3 different individuals with the same dates, the 6/3, says right on it.
Frank, I would caution you. I'm reading. Well, I think you're getting once again close to
by the way, Mr.
talking
Mayor,
about.
You owe me an apology. One day I was here and I said this to a woman. You said you're a liar.
I don't ever recall.
You don't remember standing right here?
No.
With a young lady, with an elderly lady, and I told her
Frank,
about.
you must have heard something I didn't say because
well, I told her about the abuses in the fire department, and you said that's a lie. It's just what you said.
I don't recall that, Frank.
Well, it happened, Mr. Mayor, and I wouldn't have told you that if I didn't.
Well,
if you didn't say it. It's very simple. It's come. I want to bring it out before the election. I want to bring it out before the election. This gentleman's there doing a job. If he wasn't there, there would have been more slips going through. The Santa thing would have went through. Mr. Howard did not sign it. Sent an email. I got the emails. All right, over 400 emails, plus other sheets. The abuses have been there. You did nothing about it.
Frank.
When we come here and speak about it, you did nothing. Now when we bring it up, well, we can't talk about it. When a fireman, listen to me, let me finish. When a fireman can come in and make $1,900, in excess of $1,900 for one day, okay, instead of bringing in a lower paid fireman, bring in the captain. He makes $1,900. Sock it to the taxpayer. And to me, that's abuse.